What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. I am your host, and I am Love Coach Scott Katamas, and welcome to our Friday night edition of The Awakening World. We've got a really wonderful show tonight with three beautiful live guests and our beloved brother, Omar Shar, and we're going to be talking all about sexual health and freedom in anticipation of a really powerful conference and event that's coming up here in the Bay Area. So definitely come on in and join us. I want to welcome all of our friends that are already here in our Zoom room. Let us know where you are geographically, from Dorina down in Ecuador, all the way up to Mary up in Miwok Island. We've got people from all over the world who tune into this show, and that's something that I really love. I especially want to also welcome the people that are watching on Alan Steinfeld's YouTube channel, or our YouTube channel. Also, those of you that are part of our newest broadcast partner, the Conscious Awakening Network, welcome. And most of all, thank you to John and Summer Raymer. They run the Sign Network, that's S-I-N-E, and that gets us out to over 100 Facebook groups and pages. Now, if you're watching us on one of those Facebook groups and pages or YouTube, come on into our Zoom room, come join the Global Peace Tribe, and it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and you'll see a page similar to this, talking about the different shows and the different things that we do, and click where it says Join Winter Season Now. And that's our brand new season that's beginning. But once you join, you'll get the links to all of our shows for the next 3.5 months. We do 3 or more shows every weekend. Of course, this is the show we're doing tonight, World Peace Through Awesome Sex. And it's really going to be fun. I can't wait to hear from our presenters. Tomorrow night, we are celebrating the cosmic Christ. As my mother used to always say, remember the Christ in Christmas. What does that really mean? We've got world famous Reverend Matthew Fox talking about it. And we've got JJ and Desiree Hertuck, who will be joining us. They're brilliant authors, beloved authors of The Keys of Enoch, live music with Omar Shar, and Johanna Beekman and Donnie Regal. And then we're going to be celebrating Celestine Starr. It would have been her birthday. This is the rare time that we actually are not going to have a Sacred Sunday show because it's Christmas Day and my birthday. So I'm taking Sunday off. But normally we have a wonderful show on Sundays where we kind of explore more of the non-denominational spiritual aspects of life. So come join our awakening world. We also have retreats and special events like a New Year's Day concert with Kristen Hoffman and Cornflower. So we're a pretty cool group of people, as you are about to see for those of you that are new. So I'm going to briefly show you who's going to be joining us today. And the woman who really has kind of helped put this together, you saw her on a show previously, I think it was about a month ago, that Trish brought Nika Sherrill in. And right away, when I met Nika and learned about what she was doing with this upcoming conference, I said, hey, let's do a whole show on it. And she said, okay. And she is the host of the It's Cast, Real Talk on Sex. And she's all about breaking down taboo. And so thank you, Nika, for being with us. It's really great to have you with us. And then she invited two of her friends, including Maggie Rast. And I got to acknowledge, Maggie is where I kind of got the idea of World Peace Through Awesome Sex, because that's her website, an entire website on World Peace Through Awesome Sex. So we're going to learn about that. Maggie's also an award-winning architect and the founder of World Peace Through Awesome Sex and author of A Report from the Field, a conference for global transformation. So it's great to have you with us, Maggie. And then finally, we've got Inez with us. And Inez is also a clinical sexologist, certified master sexpert. She assists women and couples in transformational coaching all around sex and intimacy. So we've got three wonderful beings with us. And we're going to be learning all about this very powerful conference coming up. So thank you all for being with us. And we always start our shows with music. And tonight we've got our wonderful house musical artist who brings a lot of love through his music. Look at all that love that is with Bashar.
That's right. Aloha and namaste, everybody. And yeah, I'm ready for tonight, as you can see. I'm so ready. And here's a song called Until You. When I was transitioning from playing in pop bands to just writing music of the divine heart, this is one of the last songs I wrote. And it could be about a person, or it could be about the divinity within ourselves. So you can choose which one that is. All right, there we go. That and this one, and we're on. Here we go. Could I ever do without you in my life? It would seem so unreal. I'm glad it's not true. What could I ever feel if you left me alone? I'm so happy you're here, that you came through. I am one love with you. You're part of my life. Don't think that I'm crazy, 'cause I feel so alive in this new situation. I am never alone. You gave me your heart, and now I call it my home. Show me a better way to get on with my life. I wasn't always this real until you. I know of the constant change that we need for our souls. There is always a way for us to get through. one love with you. You're part of my life. Don't think that I'm crazy, 'cause I feel so alive in this new situation. I am never alone. You gave me your heart, and now I call it my home. Nice. I am one love with you. You're part of my life. Don't think that I'm crazy, 'cause I feel so alive in this new situation. I am never alone. You gave me your heart, and now I call it my home.
I love the song, and I love that Santa has sent his #1 elf,
I know,
Reverend
I
Jeffrey.
saw that. I couldn't help laughing. Yeah, when I played that last in pop rock bands, it was with a 5-piece band and everything. And this is the original piano version that I wrote. And yeah, it's Until You.
Yeah.
So it's good for tonight.
It's beautiful. It's
Thank you,
beautiful.
brother.
Thank you, Omar. And thank you, Elf Jeffrey, for your playfulness. That's really, really fun. You know, when I first met Nika, and she told me about her this upcoming event, the Global Sexual Health and Freedom Summit, I want you to just take a look at kind of the pictures that they chose on their carousel. And what I really love about this, and it made such an impression on me, was the diversity of age and gender preference that we see. And that to me really spoke a lot. That we see people of different colors, of different ages, of different genders connecting. And that to me is what being sex positive is all about. And so often, because I'm a coach and I work all the time with people that, you know, share with me their challenges, there's so much shame in our culture around sexuality and so much judgment about sexuality that's different from whatever we think is sexy or whatever we grew up with. You know, what's sexy to one person is crude to another. What's really hot to one person is pornographic to another. And so, because this show is all about awakening world and rising in our consciousness about our sexuality, our perception of other people's sexuality is really, really important, certainly to me. And that's why I'm really delighted that we've got the wonderful guests with us tonight. So I'm going to start by bringing on Anika, and I'm going to ask all three of our guests really an opening first question, starting with Nika, and that is, what does sexual health and freedom mean to you personally, Nika? What does that mean? What does that evoke in your life?
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. You know, and really looking at this, so it's the Global Sexual Health and Freedom Summit. And for me, this is such a powerful opportunity to speak to the world and make a difference in how we operate and interact and engage with each other as people. There's a lot of fear and hate and homophobia and murder and mutilation and all these things out there that we don't talk about or see from a multitude of angles. And I really feel like people should be able to be free in who they are, in their bodies, in their expression of identity, in whatever way, to be able to be free to live that without the judgment and stigma of society and other people's opinions that are driving that shame. So I really want to make it a space where people feel held, feel healed, You know, I do this work for the child that I was, you know, growing up. It's like, what would I say to that little girl? What did I need to hear then that no one was telling me? So really creating that space and that opening for conversation is what that freedom part means, because we should be able to talk about it, and we should be able to not have the shame or fear or taboo, but just really the openness and the love and the understanding.
Absolutely, beautifully stated. I love that we're doing this show on the weekend that we celebrate Christmas. And, you know, really, if you go and take a look at the historical Jesus, he was all about supporting, you know, people of diverse races and cultures and belief systems. And, you know, he really shook up the whole system because, of course, it was very patriarchal back then, and a tremendous amount of persecution for different beliefs. So I think that in the true spirit of Christmas, how wonderful that we get to have this show and talk about this. And I'm really looking forward to meeting your friends. So I'm going to bring on Maggie. Here's Maggie. Hi, Maggie.
Hello. Hi.
Well, same question for you. What is your personal relationship to sexual health and freedom?
Well, it's funny you ask, because I was shy and fearful growing up. My mom was very open talking about sexuality and all the mechanics. We had, you know, our dog gave birth to puppies on my bed, things like that. So the mechanics were known, but my mom wasn't, and dad weren't very communicative. And part of my thing is that we create in our own sexual being the same, you know, communication is so important, respect is so important, and being a contribution to people. So I flip-flopped. So I was married for 20 years. You know, by the end, we weren't having much sex at all. It was very, you know, vanilla and things like that. And it wasn't until a couple of years after my marriage dissolved that I actually started to explore my sexuality. And so I'm 64 now. I'm having the best sex of my life. I have multiple lovers, and it's something I never could have comprehended while I was married. The idea of an open marriage or something like that, I couldn't wrap my head around it. But there's so much that people don't know and don't talk about. And sexuality is the basis of being human. It's right down there on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's right triangle with food, shelter, air. It's like basic to who we are. And I think it has power to take us through all the other parts of the pyramid, security, belonging, things like that. So thank you. I could talk all day about this subject. So I will stop right now and let you continue.
Well, we're going to have lots of time to talk to all three of you. But here's your other comrade, Inez. And welcome to the show. It's good to see you.
Hello. Yes. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Hopefully the internet gods will smile upon us when you're speaking. What does sexual health and freedom mean to you? And what's a little bit about your history and background?
Well, when I was a child, sex was never really talked about. Now, I'm like Maggie, I did have dogs and they had puppies and everything like that. But it was always, when they did talk about sex, you can't do this, you can't do that. And, you know, you can't do this until you get married and you're supposed to be a good girl. And I'm like, well, you know, I used to hear the sounds coming from your bedroom, and how you think I got here? And my brother got here. So I'm like, wait, hold up, what's going on? So it was like that growing up. It was kind of fearful. You know, you can't do this, you can't do this. So in my teen years and my rebellion years, I just went out and just was enjoying myself, having a good time, and with boys and everything. And then I started in the beauty industry, and I used to get a lot of clients, and I've worked as a licensed cosmetologist and a teacher. And we used to get clients that I would cut their hair and I see this big plug. And I'm like, well, what happened? And then they said, oh, me and my husband got into a fight. He pulled my hair out or something. Or either I covered black eyes. I mean, I learned theatrical makeup just by covering bruises and black eyes. And I said, and they used to pour their heart out to me because, well, I didn't know their husband, and they needed someone to talk to, and I listened. All I could do was listen. So when that happened, I was like, oh my God, I just didn't. I mean, I just absorbed so many stories. So as a licensed cosmetologist in Illinois, we have to go now and take things like domestic violence and sexual violence workshops. And then that brought up a lot of false stories that I was told when I was a child. So when I was taking that, I studied under Dr. Rachel Institute. Her name was Dr. Rachel Ross. And more things was coming up, more things. And I started doing more transformational work until I got to the point I was like feeling free. I was like, look, let me tell you, sex and intimacy is a ball. And I was also coaching women around relationships and how they can transform their life. I was doing this to my clients, and they're like, girl, you need to be a coach. So once I finished the program, then I became a clinical sexologist and a master sexpert. And I'm enjoying it. I'm free and I'm having a great time doing this.
Fantastic. I'm going to add your friends here. And so listen, everybody, this is a chance to ask some of those questions that you might have about overcoming shame or anything about, sexuality. We've got three amazing experts with us here. So I'll ask a couple more questions, but I'll be scanning our Zoom room, and I'll also be scanning Facebook to see what questions might be coming in. As a coach, that's my day job. I've come to believe that shame is the great human epidemic. I've worked with thousands of people over 25 years, and almost always when you get down to their greatest pain, their greatest blocks, it's somehow connected to shame. And obviously sexual shame or shame about our body, and those are two separate things, sometimes connected. But shame about our bodies, shame about sexuality is a huge one. So I'd love to just, because I know it's so common, and I'm sure there are people watching right now that still suffer from shame about their body or shame about sexuality. I'd love to hear each of you share any tools or practices or suggestions for how to manage that gremlin that is all too pervasive. And we'll start with Maggie, because I could just Maggie, and then Inez, and then she's bursting. She's got something. She's got it. Okay.
I could wave a magic wand and have people love and accept their bodies and nothing else. I would do that, because we grow up in a conversation, like a society conversation around economics, and they're selling us products, and we're indoctrinated from a little bitty baby that we are not okay just the way we are. Our bodies are not okay. It needs to be some other way. It's, the models, it's all a lie. How many people are like a model? And just the whole conversations about being a male or being a female. And we're on a spectrum. It's not, we've come to like masculine energy, feminine energy, but I think even going beyond that some other words rather than masculine and feminine, because it is a spectrum. But the whole body image, I tell you, having great lovers, and I'm heterosexual, but I mean across the board, I've learned from my lovers that just confidence in my own body is a real turn on, that it not necessarily that I look a certain way, but the comfort with my body and being able to be fully present. So I would suggest, if you could, however much you can, you know, be in front of a mirror with as little clothes as possible and just look at your body and appreciate it at whatever age, whatever it looks like. You're perfect now. You can switch out, but start loving your body now. And just, if you did that and just look at and say like, oh, oh, my earlobes. I love my earlobes. Whatever it is, I love like my shoulder. Just do that every day for a while, and you'll start to really love and appreciate your body.
Oh, that's beautiful, Maggie. And it's true. I mean, it is about world peace. Imagine how much more peace we would have in the world if everybody was if we got to shame free.
Yeah.
Veronica Monet, I don't know if you know Veronica, she's been on the show a few times. She's a longtime friend of mine. And she has a wonderful show called The Shame Free Zone. And her whole work is around that. I'll have to send her a copy of this video once it's done. Anyway, thank you, Maggie. And Nika, what do you have to say about overcoming shame?
Yes, thank you, thank you. And Maggie, I love everything that you shared about the mirror work and just the loving your body. It's so powerful and so rich. For me, it's understanding and knowing that shame, it's a learned behavior and it's a taught behavior. So shame-based teaching is really like at the core of how we began to identify with ourselves as humans. So like we would do something, and then as a corrective tool, people will like the mentors and adults in our lives would often use shame as a tactic of correcting behavior. And so then it comes to a place where then it comes to a place where it's really easy to internalize those feelings and to make them mean something wrong about yourself. But separating the idea of who you are and seeing that it was taught can help you to begin the process of unlearning it. And so I really think that like not continuing to shame and providing yourself the like negative talk is going to really help you step outside of that. And there is something like, it's kind of yummy to be in like a funk sometimes. But that's just my own like, expression of it can be enticing to be with not liking the self. Like it's such a deep pattern. It's something that we're so used to. So in terms of recommending something for moving beyond that is getting that shame is as a tool, as a learning tool, as a teaching pattern. It's there to teach you something. Whenever you feel ashamed in your own, like in your moment, in your body, in yourself, look at where your limits and boundaries are. Are you crossing your own boundary? Are you up against an edge that you're not comfortable with? And what is that teaching you such that you can step back and assess? Shame is actually, in some ways, a way that we learn to love ourselves.
Beautiful, beautifully stated. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right, Inez, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about shame and some of that. We've already had some wonderful suggestions. Any other suggestions of how to manage it or overcome it?
Well, what I also embarked on was also journaling everything that had manifested, really go back to when you're as a child, to heal the inner child first because of the stories that we were told as kids and teenagers growing up, especially those awkward years. All of that is within us right now. And as women, especially when we give birth, or we've had surgeries or things like that. I have worked with women where they looked at themselves completely naked. And if they were, say, gave birth to children, they would look at themselves, like they would look at their stomach and give a description. It was life that was created in that spot. These breasts nourished my children. Okay. They got to the point they were describing their eyes. I can see these are beautiful eyes. They would describe them. Oh, I got little specks of gold. I got this, I got that. I was made unique. They would talk about their nose. They would have so much gratitude and appreciation after that, that's all they came out with was just love of self. And then they were able to attract that within their own life after that, because it's about body positivity. I mean, really get in there and just say, look, I'm a magnificent being. You know, I can see, I can smell, I can taste the best foods, I can drink the best wines, if whiskey, whatever it is that you want to consume. You know, my breasts can nourish. You get men talk about, oh my God, my penis gives life. You know, it creates life. They're a portal for creation of life. They get into those deep conversations that can turn shame around into victory in their life.
Wow, I know. Wow. Mm.
All four of you. I mean, all four. I'm seeing myself. All four of us. Okay, I'll put myself in there. Thank you. Thank you. I got lost because I was reading some of the comments coming in on Facebook. All right. So I'm going to read a few comments, and there's a couple questions that have come in. So Omoshar, our house musical artist, writes, wow, shame about my body and sexuality was such a taboo in my British family upbringing. It has haunted me my whole life. As a result, I don't think I've ever had a truly intimate coupling ever. That's very, very, very vulnerable and authentic. Thank you, Amashar, for sharing that. Dorina writes, thank you for your wonderful sharings already. Question, what ways do you consider are most conducive to making sex, sexuality, sexual health, and healing less taboo, especially in the parts of the world where they are more taboo or culturally judged? Great question, Dorina. Dorina's coming to us from Ecuador, by the way. Maggie, do you want to tackle that one first? But I want to hear Inez and Nika's comments also.
Yeah, well, part of that is the reason the three of us came together, because it's having information around sex. I personally think if people had more sex, more exposure to different partners, to really be able to discover for themselves what awesome sex is, whatever that looks like to them, and whether they're compatible. Because how we do one thing, we typically do everything. So if you have a great sexual partner, they're probably going to be a good life partner, a good friend. If someone treats you badly, and you're like, nah, you can go over there. I'm not having sex with you anymore. And if enough people said that to that person, they could either like live without sex or modify and go like, what am I missing? So yeah, sexual health and healing, speaking about it.
Mhm.
comparing
Beautiful.
notes. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay. Nika, do you have any thoughts about Doreena's question?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think there's something deeply like underneath it. So when I talk about why people don't talk about sex, it's usually because there's a deeper seated trauma or a stop that doesn't allow that conversation to happen. So it's one of the reasons why parents will have trouble talking to their children about sex, because they've got some unresolved conflict. And in places where it's a commonality to not have these conversations, there's a common thread of I've seen the abuse and the trauma and a lot of like a fear and just the silence, just the overall silence. It's driven by something inside of that space. So beginning to talk about it, even if it's in small groups or small circles, where like, you know, you have some trusted friends, maybe there's a support group or something, or even being in conversations like this, to be able to open that up and then to take it to people who aren't in that space yet, and just letting them know that it's actually safe to be in this space, because it can be very, very frightening, I think, for a lot of people. And I know for myself growing up, it's like sexuality, it has a cultural intimidation factor, I think, from a multitude of perspectives. And it just that alone can stop someone from actually being able to express and converse and talk about what they need. And then if you layer all of the other things that we go through in our human lives on top of that, the silence can be deafening. And the only way to open that up is to begin to talk to each other. Have safe.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Just keep talking about it. Keep talking about it. Inez, what would you like to add to respond to the question?
I've had a conversation like this with a friend of mine who's a physician, and I know she started a non-for-profit, and it's also not just about having support groups, because I have support groups and I'm in support groups, but it's also about educating them in every aspect of their beingness, from a spiritual, physical life, because I know in some cultures, some religions, it's taboo to talk about it. And then there are things that are done, God, that is just, to me, just crazy. Things that are done to women and to men too as well, and what they can do and what they can't do, and being in a family sometimes where this generational trauma has been passed down. So it's basically coming together, having conversations, having support groups around this, and also educating them. If they can't get the education where they're at, go find somewhere and they can get it, or either they can just look online. I've heard of some women in other countries that if they go outside and do what they wanted to do, uh, it would be shot or they would be criminalized. But behind closed doors, they reading the books, they're talking to their female friends, giving information, being there for each other, and some of them are getting out. They're getting out. So it's basically having a solid support group and education.
I know that a lot of our viewers are single. And honestly, most of our viewers tend to be 50 plus. And so I'd like to just ask what advice you have for single people, male or female, that are single, older, and disconnected from their sensuality as well as their sexuality. Because I think that that's, again, something that a lot of people watching can relate to right now. And I'd love to hear, once again, what all three of you have to say about that particular time in life and that particular challenge in life. And I guess we'll just go in our same order of Maggie, Nika, and Inez.
Okay, we're not going to mix it up. Well, it's the first thing that popped to mind is Betty Dobson was the mother of masturbation. And she basically died in her 90s. But she wrote great books at like Sex for One. And it starts with yourself and discovering what turns you on and touching and becoming a sensual person and then being able to share it with someone else. And they're taking baby steps because yes, I actually, yes, I'm going to share this. After my divorce, about 2 years, I went to a friend of mine who was a swinger because who else do you go with to ask these things? I said, I'm not ready for a relationship, quote unquote, but I sure could use some sex. And I asked her if she could fix me up. And she did. She did. It was awesome. And it was my first experience of like getting set up and at a restaurant and with the intention of going back to my place and having sex. And I was really nervous. And the best thing he said, I said, I'm a little, shy, a little nervous. He goes, well, you know what? We'll finish our dinner. We'll go back to your place. We'll get naked and everything will be okay. Was.
Oh my God.
Oh, I love that story. Wow. And there's something very human about that, and very, very, there's I'll look it up while you're talking. There's a movie with Jane Fonda and Robert Redford. I'm pretty sure it's on Netflix that I watched. And what's interesting is they had made several movies together way back when they were just getting started. They made a movie together. And then they made The Electric Horseman, and they made 4 movies together at different stages of their lives. And this last one, which they made just a couple, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, is about a widow and a widower that just decide to cuddle together at night, and
Yes.
the awkwardness and the shyness and the nervousness. And it's kind of interesting seeing these icons. Barefoot in the Park was a movie they did together when they were in the 20s, right?
Yeah.
So they've kind of modeled over the years, and here they are now in their 70s, I think, when they made this movie. Anyway, I'll find the information about it and get that to us
That's a
before.
fabulous movie. And it goes to the thing, one of the things our language kind of conflates things. There's a big difference between love, sex, and intimacy. But we usually just kind of mush them all together. And that what you're talking about is the intimacy, the being close, being able to share with each other. No, that's a marvelous movie.
Beautiful. Inez, no, actually it's Nika's turn. Nika, what are your thoughts about supporting our single friends to reestablish sensual and sexual connection with themselves?
Yes, I love it. I just wanted to throw in that my first boyfriend and I spent just months cuddling because it was so sweet and it was totally platonic. It was very strange. And then we fell into our relationship. But that closeness and that intimacy is so important. And starting to heal the intimate relationship that we have with ourselves. As Maggie, as you pointed out, that it starts with the self, it starts with that pivotal center. And I know for myself, there have been a few things that I've done. The mirror work, this is one of my favorite stories to tell. Oh my God. So so mirrors are just very powerful. And I remember one day I was down visiting my mom in Texas, and there's always been this beauty shame conversation. I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that. And just all this layers upon layers of body shame. And I was walking past the mirror one day, I was naked, and I caught a glimpse of myself and said, oh, I'm voluptuous. And then kept right on walking, just out of nowhere. And I was like, that was confident and that was powerful. And it was that moment of reckoning where it's like, this is my body. I accept it. This is who I am. And then I went and I told my mom, and she laughed. And then I was like, laugh if you want to, but that's who I am. And it was really, really beautiful to have that shift and that breakthrough. And then so then let's see, in addition to that, there was something, oh shucks, that healing the relationship with the self. So I've also done and actually I lead a releasing sexual shame pathway to freedom workshop, where we have a couple of exercises where we learn to forgive ourselves and then create ourselves newly. And it's a really powerful process of allowing yourself to come in and like be with the icky and be with, you know, the murky and the sad and whatever is there, and to heal and release it and forgive and then let go and restore. You know, what are you going to put there now, and what are you going to build? And there's a number of wonderful workshops and spaces out there. The Human Awareness Institute, I'll give a shout out. I did their work, and in one of the levels, we actually got a chance to like marry ourselves. It was wonderful.
Yes.
So really, like, that's where it begins. And when it starts to radiate out from within you, that's when it'll shine for others. And it is sensual, and it's intimate, and it's powerful and empowering, and so worth the journey. Like, what's the best thing you can say about yourself in the mirror?
You know, I led a retreat. I did many retreats, but about 6 years ago, my partner at the time, Emily, and I, who did a lot of retreats together, led one in Maui that culminated with everyone marrying themselves.
Mm-hmm.
The whole retreat was a lead up to that. The retreat was all about self-love, and you know, all the different blocks that people had to self-love, and we actually went into a church that we arranged to have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody married themselves.
Right.
It was really, really fun. And of course, all the other members would be there and would all bless them and pronounce them. I forget how we did that, but it was really, really fun. And so thank you for reminding me of that. And it's a beautiful thing. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Inez, what are your thoughts about this topic?
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. I had forgot about that, because I did that too. And it was on Valentine's Day. I went with my friend to a spiritual center, and we married ourselves. I was like, okay, I'm married now. I was married now. So I was like, all right, that's good. But you know what the thing is with people who want to get back out into the scene, and I've talked to people on that level, it really takes exercising a muscle that we all have, like looking at yourself. Now, this is something, the mirror work, looking at yourself in the mirror and having a conversation with yourself, saying you are powerful, you are beautiful, you are courageous, you can do this, you can get out. Because people experience that after divorce, or people who have passed away, they transition, and they are afraid to get out there because they still in mourning, they still in grief. I mean, I do know people who are grief coaches that can help them through processes, because I collaborate with various coaches and therapists of different genres, but it's they're in that mourning state. And or either some people are still kind of in a mourning state. They're like, I don't know if I want to go out. I don't know if I want to go dating, because it's the dating pool is this, and I've had this experience. But it's still all around changing that conversation about yourself, exercising yourself around that, and really loving yourself, because it's the type of energy that you attract. And if you're loving, if you are of affinity, you have a sensuality, a sexuality about yourself, that's going to come out. And people are going to be attracted to that. And especially, they're attracted to it if women be like, who she thinks she is? Or the guys will be like, what's going on? you know, but yeah, and I get that all the time. Even when I do that, I'm like, who does this girl think she is? They tell me that. I'm like, look, I'm going out. I know who I am. I fix myself up. I get the hair done. I call my friends who in the business, girl, hook me up with the nails, everything, especially in the summertime, the feet. And I go out and I'm in this yacht club in the summer, and I go out and I have a good time. I post my pictures of where I'm at, and this is what I'm up to. But I always get up and I say, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to create. I'm about love and affinity, and I breathe. I breathe through it, because those stories, those false stories of those crazy things that come up, just breathe through it, because that's all it is. And once you do that, it's going to go away. It's going to go away.
Beautiful. I'm so appreciating. Oh, yes, Nika.
Yes, thank you. I actually, it just occurred to me, I also wanted to answer that question from a different approach, a more embodied, like what it feels like in the physical being. So looking at it from a tantric and somatica perspective, there's a lot of energy inside of the body. And so when you're working with your own sensuality, it's about knowing, like, what are you drawn to and where are your limits? I remember I was doing this one tantric exercise, and we were supposed to go through and like get really in tune with the area and like, just kind of be with it and like touching our body in these different places to see how it felt. And I got to my heart and I couldn't touch my heart. There was so much pain and intensity and just everything there that I really just had to like be with it for a bit and let it radiate and let it exist before I could get closer to myself. And then even more before I could get closer. So like go slow with yourself, and also just allow yourself to feel it in your body. The first thought that I had that made me think of that was like, oh, I forgot to say masturbate, duh. And I'm like, oh, it's not just masturbation. It's not just sexual masturbation. It's like really being intimate with yourself and knowing where your body needs that healing and that love so that you can experience the sensuality.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm really glad you talked about that, because I've taught Tantra for many, many years. And of course, a big part of it is really learning to touch ourselves in other places, like to really reawaken our body is so important. Just touching the hand, touching, like right now, even as I'm touching my face, it's like, oh yeah, I should do that more often. That feels nice, yeah. Oh well, top of the head. I always say, I'd much rather have the big head rubbed than the little head at this point, because that's my spot right up here.
It's so funny because not many people touch the face. I know my mom remarked at a wedding that she could tell before I was married to him, that I liked him because I actually touched his face. And not many people are allowed in that space, and just to touch your own face. And the other thing I wanted to add is to really be yourself. Like if you're dating and you're putting on a facade, then if the person's attracted, they're not attracted to you, they're attracted to the facade. So it's a better numbers game, it's better odds to just be yourself. And if they're attracted to you, they're attracted to you.
Thank you.
You know what?
Absolutely.
I would also like to add, get to know your body. Just like I was saying earlier, really look at yourselves, because a lot of us do not know our bodies. Because especially when you're having sex, sometimes, well, a lot of times women think the man's supposed to know it, when it comes to heterosexual sex. And how they know if you don't know? And that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
I mean, you should know your body and where the pleasure points are, what you like, what you don't like, the speed, everything. And if you're talking about getting into a relationship with somebody, you gotta have this conversation. You should have this conversation. No, just don't assume anything. Just get out there and have that conversation. And talk to them. I like it this way. I like it that way. I don't like it rough. I like to start off this way. I like this and I like that. And just like you were talking about, some people don't like their face touched. But one of my friends just got married, and I guess in the islands, and he was sweating, and she rubbed his face like that, the sweat, and then put it on hers. Yeah,
Mhm.
right. And I was like, wow. Ooh. I was like, girl, I never saw that before. Never.
And I'd like to add to that, Inez. Go ahead, sorry.
No, but no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I love what you're saying. And there are people like me who I call myself a moving target. Like one day I like this and it really does it for me. And the next day it does that. So sometimes I can't actually tell my partner what should happen. But being present and being playful and taking your time, being
Mhm.
slow and exploring, and sex doesn't have to look any certain way. So I'm really like in the moment. I can know, but I can't go like do this, that, do that. I mean, that I if I could tell someone that would be
I mean,
phenomenal. It's not happening.
exactly, because it was just like Nika was talking about Tantra and the somatic work. I mean, I've done Tantra work where okay, yeah, you touch and caress it, and I liked it, but then there was a time that when you did it, I felt some trauma, and it was releasing some trauma there. I've known women who've done the exercises, and especially pelvic floor exercises, and they released so much trauma. And we can even get deeper. We can talk about the ancestral trauma that is in our DNA that has came out. So yeah, this work is very important. I feel it's very important.
And last
You
year
know,
at our summit, we actually had someone speaking to that. He was a partner of someone who had sexual trauma and talking about how you have to be there, you have to have the communication because sometimes things just come up and you have to be able to support your partner rather than going, oh, I'm wrong, I did something wrong, to realize it's not about you, but to be there for your partner. So especially if we're not talking about trauma or your partner doesn't know, like Inez said, you can touch something or it can go like boom, like soup to nuts, right in a second. So you got to be able to be in that conversation.
It should be a safe space. It should be, if it's with the right partner, regardless if you're married or not or whatever, it's should be safe, not traumatic. Telling them, oh, something must be wrong with me. Who you think you are, type of thing. I've known people that have been through situations like that. I've been in situations like that. It's like, no, I listen to my body. It's something there that I have to work on, and it's not you. So, I mean, I've uncovered things going back to my grandmother and my great great grand.
wow.
So, yeah, I mean, and I just let it go. I just let it go. You just gotta let it. And I went as far as, I would say, even my dad's great 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 grandmother. And then when I was releasing in this session, I went back to check records, and I was like, holy, I couldn't believe it,
Mm.
because my ancestor even gave birth to not only her husband's baby, but the slave owners' babies. And it was, and then oh gosh, it was something how I heard stories about that, how that was passed down. And they couldn't believe that I knew this. I was like, this was coming out. I mean, these were people that I couldn't tell them what I was doing because they were, they still in that culture, religious, what they call it, Bible Belt, whatever. But when they were telling me the stories of the family, I was like, yep, there it was. It was coming out. I was releasing. Because I was told it's in our DNA.
Absolutely. We've done shows, several shows on epigenetics, and it's a very real thing. It's been scientifically proven that before we are even born, we receive a genetic download of the trauma from our ancestors going back as far as 7 generations. That's a scientific biological recent discovery. And I think that it's really important for us to recognize that we are here to heal our ancestral line. Domestic violence stops with me, low self-esteem, alcoholism, addiction stops with me, because we now have the freedom and the support that our ancestors didn't have. They were working 3 jobs. They were, they didn't have the time or the energy, the support that we now have. We've got AA and 100 other ways to get support for whatever the trauma might be. So I want to read a few comments and a question. Also want to acknowledge Connie Baxter Mello in a moment, Marlo. For those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube, Dorina found the name of the movie. It's called Our Souls at Night, and it is on Netflix. Highly recommended. And Dorina actually also told us about, we've all heard of monogamy, sometimes perceived as monotony. We've all heard of polyamory, which unfortunately often becomes polyagony. Dorina introduces us to sologamy, or self-marriage, a symbolic ceremony where we commit to maintaining a meaningful, deep, and loving relationship with ourselves. Yep. Sologamy is a commitment to yourself and not necessarily to being single or celibate. And it's becoming more and more popular, especially in Europe. Of course, those Europeans are always ahead of us Americans because they're a mature culture and we're just teenagers. So, which I mean that sincerely, actually. A couple of other wonderful comments. Our wild abbot, the mystic monastery abbot, Jerry Anderson, writes, greetings from Chile, Pennsylvania. Counseling many, I find that to share finding safe ways to explore their authentic self, as it's not possible to share yourself until one knows who they are. Mm-hmm. So yes, be yourself. And as the others soon will realize the fakeness. Lovers don't need to be only sexually companions and fun in the school of the earth. So thank you, Jerry, for offering that. And I'm going to take a brief break because I want us to give a big global peace tribe hello to 2 of our favorite beloveds. There they are. There's Connie and Andrew. They've been on the show a few times. They are regulars. And after a 20-year engagement, they are getting married tomorrow. Oh, so wow. Kids, are you sure? Do you feel like you're ready?
We can do it. I'm just sure we can do it.
If we could make it through the last 19 years, I think we can make it through the next 25 as a married couple.
Look, you just disappeared, my darling.
I disappear. Well, Zoom, if I disappear, look, it disappeared. That's ridiculous. Thank you, Scott. That's so sweet.
That's Aspen Mountain behind us? And that's where we're getting married, here in Aspen, Colorado,
Wow.
where I lived,
Wow.
birthed and raised my 3 children. So it's going to be wonderful. And I just want to say that the theme of this show and the conversation is so important, this journey to self-love. And that's what I feel. And we have a course called The Dance of Souls online, and it has to do with the overarching act of free will that we gave when we incarnated to go on our soul's journey to wholeness, to self-love and self-acceptance and alignment with our divinity and our purpose. So the conscious loving universe shows up for us. Everything happens for us, not to us, to take us to that place of self-love, to be able to see what's hidden in our subconscious where we don't love ourselves. Which aspects of ourselves don't we love? So that's a big part of our work in the world. So thank you, ladies, for bringing forth all this information and this sologamy. That's beautiful. That's just such a beautiful word and concept, and recognizing that it is in fact not just being married to oneself, but it's about self-love. So thank you for all your work you're doing in this way. And it's just key. It's the job we came here to do. So there's no shame, no blame for the mirrors we're bringing to show us those parts we don't love yet. And it shows us our light, but also our shadow. So thank you for all your work in this way.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And we've been in our dance. I want to tell you, we're in our late 70s. You come back though. Every time he looks at me, he disappears. But we're in our late 70s and we still have the dance. We still have aspects of ourselves that we haven't gotten to yet. And then we've both been very conscious all our lives with healing ourselves and doing conscious work. But let me tell you, don't get disappointed or discouraged, anybody, because it's a lifelong journey.
Can I say something? Can I say something? Congratulations, and you are an inspiration. Oh my God, looking at you, I was like, oh, I want to grow up to be just like you. Really, really. I mean, you're absolutely correct. Do not get discouraged. Just keep going. Just keep living, keep loving. And I want you to have the most eloquent, blissful, splendid life.
Thank you.
Enjoy. I mean, just enjoy, have fun, be free, be unleashed. That's how love should be.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, it's
Beautiful.
been very productive. We've written 2 books, we've made several films, and we're just so committed to this evolutionary leap in consciousness that comes through this self-love. So, and the love of the universe and trusting the loving universe and
Trust is the word. Trust the process, even when it looks tough. Trust it.
and feels tough. And the trauma that we've experienced has been to serve us. You know, that's the place where we're going with our work, is that it's all love. You know, we gave permission for it. So it's just a matter of, rather than taking a victim feeling, it's about saying thank you, and I'm now ready to become my true amazing self. So thank you so much for your work.
Thank you.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Sensational. I love it. Thank you.
In a moment, we'll do a Global Peace Tribe Maximum Grace blessing for you. But
Oh,
I'm just
thank
wondering if you'd be willing to share maybe a little bit of the vows that you're going to express to each other tomorrow. I don't want to take away all the joy of it, but I'm just really curious what your vows might include, if you'd be willing to share any of that. Is that okay?
Well, yeah, it's let's see, I've got it here. Because we had to tell our person.
We're getting married by a judge who Connie has known for 40 years here in Aspen, Colorado. And the temperature, by the way, for anybody who's freezing, we're at 8,000 feet and it's about 30 degrees. It is warm. It is relatively warm up here, which is astonishing. You'd think
Compared to Loveland down in the on the eastern slope, and it's what?
Oh, it's been like -15.
No, that's Chicago too.
Yeah. And
Yeah, and
here we
it's
are
really-
high in the mountains, and this is where all the warm air came up to. It's amazing.
so here it's very short because it's going to be cold tomorrow and it's outside
We're doing an outdoor wedding in the snow, so
in
Wow.
John Denver's sanctuary, here in Aspen where he lived. And anyway, here's the vows. Connie and Andrew, do you promise to be lovers, companions, and friends, comrades in adventure, accomplices in mischief, and comforts to each other in disappointment, strength in times of need, and partners in all things from this day forevermore?
and we do.
We do.
Yay!
First to hear it.
Wow. Wow. All right. Well, everybody, maximum grace for Connie and Andrew in your own way, just sending your love, your blessings. We love both of you. You are truly an inspiration, I think, to all of us. I can see all the smiling faces, you know, Karen and Mark and Jeffrey and Frode in Norway and Omashar, Sheila. I'll go to gallery view for a moment, everybody. So let's all just in your own ways, blessings. There's Roger and Bonnie and so many of our friends. Maximum grace
Wow.
for beautiful Connie and Andrew. Maximum grace.
Love you guys so much.
Yeah.
What a blessing. That's amazing.
Yeah. Hey, Mystic Wild Abbott. Yeah. And Roger and Bonnie and Omashar and who else do we see here? Here's Jennifer. We're all from the retreat, the wonderful retreat. Mark and Karen and all you other folks. But sign up for the next retreat. It's really amazing. The Global Peace Tribe retreat. We've all just bonded and fallen so madly in love with each other.
Mhm. Beautiful. Yeah, and I actually, on that note, I'm considering the possibility of putting together a retreat in March, either down in San Diego or back in Sedona. And I'm kind of exploring options, and we'll make some queries to people next week about it. So, all right, well, I'm going to get back to our beautiful presenters and kind of wrap it up. God's blessings. Thank you for dropping in on the eve of your incredible wedding. I'm so proud of you both. Thank you.
Happy birthday, Scott.
Yeah,
We love
happy
you.
birthday.
Thank
You're
you. You're well.
amazing.
Thank you very
What a
much.
gift you are to all of humanity with all this amazing, this forum you've brought forth. Is such a gift to all of humanity. So thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. My pleasure. I love you
And there's
guys.
Kiki. Hi, Kiki. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, I'm going to bring back our wonderful presenters. And thank you. Wasn't that kind of a fun treat to see those two just before they get married?
Yes,
Yes.
that's wonderful.
Yeah. Well, we're already kind of towards the end of the show, so I want to do some promotion here. Let's go to a couple of things. First off, just because I did pull it up since we talked about it, if you go to Netflix and you go to Our Souls at Night, there's the movie, Our Souls at Night with Redford, Fonda, and really, really beautiful film. And then, of course, we really want to talk about this event that really is what inspired us to do this show tonight. And so, as it says, save the date. It's the Sexual Health and Freedom Conference Summit 2023. And it's February 4th and 5th. Now, is it going to be online or is it live only?
It's online, actually. So it's the Global
Oh, it is
Sexual
all online.
Freedom Summit.
It's all online.
We want
Mhm.
to have
All online.
as much global reach as possible. So we're going to have it featured on Zoom, and then we're also going to have live streams so that we can reach people in other countries where the platform might not work for them. But we're so committed to having this be as far reaching as possible.
Beautiful. I love all the different pictures on your carousel. It's just so lovely seeing so many different shapes and sizes and ages and colors. It's really awesome. So let's take a look at the speakers that are going to be there. And of course, our three presenters that you've seen tonight are all going to be there. But again, just a really beautiful array of people who are going to be speaking and presenting. So I'll put the link for registration in for everybody to see. And I also want to give a chance for people to get to know each of you a little bit. Nika, I know that you are available as a coach. So tell our audience a little bit about kind of your demographic group, who you enjoy working with. Whoops, I meant to pin you, not remove you. Sorry about that. I'm doing too many things at once here. All right, there we go. There's Nika.
Yes.
Tell us about your work as a coach.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So I do personal empowerment coaching, and I specialize in supporting people in moving through trauma and creating healing processes for themselves. I also do work around accountability, and I also do business coaching for early stage startup entrepreneurs. In the space of the sexual health and healing, it's really just about discovering oneself and learning that process of letting go of the things. So I love to work with people of all different backgrounds. I've got some social justice clients that I'm working with where, restorative justice cases. So like they're learning their own flaws and things like that, where they actually get to turn inward and become more self-aware. Yeah, so it's a really beautiful process, and I am looking forward to working with and supporting people into the new year.
Beautiful. And she's got Linktree. We love Linktree because it's a wonderful way to see all the different things that someone's doing. And you've got a lot. So if you go to Linktree, and for most of you know this by now, but it's linktr.ee/ and her name, Nika, Nika, Cherrelle, Cherrelle.
Yes.
And are there any particular places on Linktree you want us to open up tonight and take a look at?
Very exciting. So there's a couple of different places. We talked previously about my podcast, and then also I design and manufacture a lovely sex toy. And I wanted it's the Nikita toy. Yes, it is. Sensitive content. So so the Nikita sex toy, I suppose, while that's loading, there we go. So it's an adventure toy. It's all about fun and play and being able to connect with your partner and bring humor to the bedroom. Just that, like, I'm going to get out of my head and like get into bed, get into this moment, this experience, this scene. I also love to tell people that it's really functional and ergonomic. So if you look at like, this is, that's so funny. This is one of the art sculptures that led to the sex toy you see in the white. But the toy itself, it's in the shop. And actually, just because I have it here, if that's okay, I'll take a second to show it.
Absolutely, there it is. Wow, that's a big one.
And what I love about it is that the handle makes it extremely functional. So like I have carpal tunnel. I know people who have issues holding toys. There's like a slip factor and there's all these other challenges. And this is just such a functional tool. So I highly recommend checking out the site triggerhappytoy.com. And we are always working around fun, play, adventure, and empowered sexuality.
Fantastic, Nika. I just so appreciate you. And thank you for sharing the Nikita toy with us. And everybody, if you need some good coaching, Nika is a wonderful person to work with. And I sure hope you'll come back and be on the show again soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Well, Maggie, it's your turn to share with us a little bit about your world. And what do you want people to know about kind of your offerings?
Well, it's right now, it's mostly my newsletters. So twice a month, a small blog newsletter that you can, it's on different topics around sex and being empowered and things to think about. I'm really into the inquiry, like not standing in like, I know the truth and this is the way it is, but to actually for people to discover for themselves what they believe and to be exposed to different things. So my website is World Peace Through Awesome Sex, and through is THRU. Okay, .com. You can sign up for the newsletter. There it is. You can sign up for the newsletter. And then I also have, once a month, I've been having inquiry calls. It's a discovery inquiry call. It's where people come together and the topic is whatever that newsletters for the month is. And it's really an inquiry into different facets of it. And there's all different demographics on it. So you actually get to experience what the other, that can be quoted, the other things. And people get a lot of value out of the discussion just be listening to like the male or female or trans or whatever the comments are coming from, and just to bring up questions like we might not ever have thought about because our society says this is the truth, this is the only way there is, and we're indoctrinated with it. So it's really questioning the status quo and discovering for ourselves.
Beautiful. I'm also putting in the little part that I saw on your website about just kind of your background of growing up and how a little bit about your evolution, as well as, of course, your website. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Inez,
Yes.
really a joy to meet you as well. And of course, I'm going to, put your into the website. But tell our audience a little bit about what you want people to know about you and your offerings.
Well, what I'm offering, I've been having support groups here. I'm from the Chicago area, and it was around whatever was on their mind about relationships, dating, trauma that they had. I created a safe space where whatever happens there stays there, type of environment. And that's going to be starting up again after the holidays. And I'm looking at doing it virtually as well too, because right now we just locally in the Chicago area. And also this spring, I'll be doing pop-ups around the adult novelties that I have with Bedroom Candy. And we have a lot of great toys and great products, loops, edible desserts that people can paint on their bodies. I mean, all kind of things that we have, plus as well as intimate skincare products too as well. And I also instruct women on how to do yoni steaming, that's another process of really releasing a lot of trauma that's within the pelvic floor area. And I introduced them to also pelvic floor exercises as well, because I partnered with a fitness coach on that level. And toward the end of the year, we're going to have a festival coming up, Sex Fest.
Fabulous. Well, thank you. And again, here's her website. And it's her name, Inez, I-N-E-Z.
Oh, yeah, the love bus will take you on a ride.
Yeah, well, you've been taking us on a ride today, I tell you. You've been taking us on a wonderful ride, Inez.
And my line is to become orgasmically unstoppable.
I love that. I love that.
Scott, before we wrap up, I don't know if we were going to go back to just a second to talk about the summit and like the great offer that we have.
Yes.
Right?
I actually was planning on doing that because if I understand this correct, people can register for as little as $10. Is that what I'm seeing?
So actually, there are a couple of things on there right now. The 10, the 25, and the $50 option are just to donate to the mission and the cause of what we're doing with the Global Sexual Health and Freedom Summit. So those do not provide access. The general admission price does, and then $3.95 is the donor tier if you also want to contribute at a higher level. Right now, for Christmas, for the holiday, we are actually doing $200 off our general admission price. So you can access the conference for just $99. I believe it's one of those, if you scroll through situations, but yes. And one of the reasons why we have it set up like this is because, again, in the mission of global reach, we know that there are places out in the world who, like, the cost of a $200 or $300 ticket is just not even fathomable. And so to be able to provide access to all of those people in all of those places who would not be able to attend. And that, there it is, the holiday flash sale. So you'll scroll down, you'll click there, $99 until midnight Christmas Day.
All right, everybody. So I'm going to put the link in one more time to where you can register. Let's do that now. And one of the things that we always do is we close with Omashar music. So while Omashar is playing, I want to encourage people to.
Okay, let's say one thing. We're on Facebook and Instagram as well. Okay, we're on social media.
Can you put those links?
So come
put
visit
those
us.
links into the chat box. Put those links into the chat box for our Zoom people, and then I'll copy them and I'll put them into Facebook. Okay. Beautiful.
Well, if you just put the Global Sexual Health and Freedom Summit, it'll come up.
Okay. All right. Well, here
on Instagram and on Facebook.
So the handle is at Global Sex Health Summit on Instagram. You should also be able to find that on the link tree and the Facebook, said Inez. Yeah. Oh, and those are our first 3 speakers. We're going to have 14. So please visit and come back to the site regularly. We've got conversations from so many different angles. We've got a panel on aging kinky AF, exciting. We've got workshops and classes for parents. So it's just kind of a whole gamut of things. And we're really, really excited to be providing and offering this work.
Beautiful. Thank you, ladies, so much. First of all, y'all are really fun. And, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
The evening just flew by. I'm sorry that we didn't get to all the questions coming in on Facebook. So that's why I got to reach out to these ladies individually to get you coaching. So pick which one you felt the most resonance with. And thank you so much. I am going to turn it over to Omashar, who will close us out with some music while people are hopefully registering for the summit. And again, for those on Facebook who can't see the links, it's really simple. It's Global Sex Health Summit, globalsexhealthsummit.com. One more time, globalsexhealthsummit.com.
Sorry, correction. Sorry, the website is sexhealthsummit.com.
You're right. I was looking. Now, what was I looking at here? Somebody confused me.
The handle.
Oh, the Instagram. Yeah, Instagram. Got it.
Global Sex.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So it's sexhealthsummit.com. Sexhealthsummit.com. Can you make a song out of that, Omashar? Sexhealthsummit.com.
Healthsummit.com.
Exactly.
Exactly. So, wow, how beautiful. It's amazing because when you have so much unspoken, let's say shame, for want of a softer word, within you, and you get people speaking directly, I find all my insides just stirring up, and it's all coming up into my face, and it's like quite brilliant actually, because I'm at a place in my life where I'm not bothered by what's coming up. I call them ghost dogs of duality, because it shows me where I'm withholding within myself. And so thank you, three beautiful beings, for being that change within my life in this moment. A lot to process. I don't have any words for it, so I'm going to sing this song, and it's actually a divine song called "One Heart, One Mind, One Soul." I sang it before. However, the reason I'm singing it tonight, my song angel said, "Sing this one," is because of the rhythm in it. Was initially, sometimes I write songs based on rhythms. It's got this nice little kind of rhythm in it. It was based on Marvin Gaye's "Sexual Healing." And the rhythm, not the song, I know, right? And so you'll hear it, and I might even, I can't, for copyright reasons, sing that song tonight, because we'll be banned forever. Or pay $1,000 to somebody. But anyway, here we go. I'm gonna just shut up, all right, and sing.
Sometimes it feels so hard to move along, saying goodbye to yesterday. Take heart, my friends, there is a new song bringing us back to our homelands. When something troubles you, just call out my name. I am the one who loves you. Be still within, hear what I say, and give me the chance to be with you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. So when you're feeling down and on your own, take a look around. I am in everything. Give me your burden, walk into my arms. I will lift you up, I will hold you. We are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. Sexual healing. We are the ones who hear the new voice calling us home to freedom. Fear not, my friends, this is a new place full of new joys and happiness. Yes, we are one heart, one mind, one soul, working together to heal. And there are no walls between us now. It's a celebration of union. Sexual healing.
We do love that song. That is absolutely one of our favorite songs. You got the gong thing going on at the end. That's how Emerson, Lake and Palmer used to finish their
It's a,
things
right.
with the
It's a
gong.
sample of a gong, but it's a trip because nobody knows that about the rhythm of that song, and there's no other recording in which I've said those words in it. So sexual healing. So I just thought I'd ham it up for now. Thank you for
I
playing.
love how you kind of slipped that in there. Absolutely beautiful. I'm going to go to gallery view. That's all. Twinkle, our beloved Omar Shar, and give him some love. Thank you so much, Omar Shar.
My
It was
pleasure.
awesome. And you'll get a chance to see Omar Shar tomorrow night, along with a lot of other wonderful people. Tomorrow night's show, we are celebrating the cosmic Christ. And we'll also be celebrating Celestine Starr. It would have been her birthday. Celestine, of course, was one of our absolute beloveds that was a frequent guest on this show. And we've got some wonderful people tomorrow. We've got Reverend Matthew Fox. We've got JJ and Desiree Hertock. We've got Elizabeth Kelly, Heather Salmon, Donnie Regal, live music with Omar Shar and Johanna Beekman. So it's going to be a very special night. Do join us tomorrow night, Christmas Eve. We will not be doing a show on Christmas Sunday. I am going to actually take the day off for my birthday, but I sure am looking forward to hopefully seeing all of you tomorrow night.
And satsang tomorrow.
And relationship satsang tomorrow morning. Thank you for reminding me. I always forget to mention it. You know, the relationship satsang group, it's usually only about an hour. It's not long, but it's an opportunity to kind of come in. I see Lynn and Leaf join us. They've been with us the last few weeks. They're here right now, and other friends. And it's a chance to just kind of come in and talk a little bit about what's going on with us. So it's not videotaped. It's not live streamed. It's just for those who show up. And I'll, if I can, I'll try and find real quickly where you can get the information on it. Yeah, so it's a really beautiful show. I want to go to, I'll go to Nika one more time while I look for the relationship satsang information to put into the chat box. Nika, any final thoughts you'd like to share?
Yes, absolutely. I actually posted this into the chat since I know this is a global conversation that we're in. If anyone out there is in need of global financial support for the Sexual Health and Freedom Summit to attend, please reach out to us directly. Again, we want to make sure this is accessible for everyone. So if you are in need of that contribution that the community is making, then reach out and let us know. You can email me at nika@sexhealthsummit.com or contact through the Calendly. Linktree. But yeah, nika@sexhealthsummit.com will get you there.
Beautiful. Thank you very, very much.
And happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I always joke that it's about people remembering the true meaning of Christmas, my birthday. All right. Nika, it's a pleasure. I'm going to bring on Maggie and Inez one more time so we can just give them some love. What a wonderful group of beautiful, beautiful beings who are doing such important work in the world. Where are you, Inez? Where are you? I'm trying to find you here. Go to gallery view for a minute, try and find you.
Thank you, Scott. This is amazing. And I hope people have gotten stuff out of today. Yeah. And more stuff. Come to the summit. $99 special, and it will blow your mind.
Absolutely. I'll be there. I'll definitely tune into it. And thank you, everybody. Beautiful, beautiful beings. Have a wonderful evening. Hopefully we'll see you all tomorrow night for Christmas Eve. Take care.